did a lot of people watching this weekend. And as I sat on a rock and ate my lunch and watched all the people go by, it is so obvious how, from young children, as we grow into adults, we start to undo this natural movement request that our body has. Welcome to Mental Fortress Monday. I am Dr. Cheryl Carthouse, naturopathic doctor, and here on Mental Fortress Monday, we explore the who, what, where, when, why, and how of mindfulness and mindfulness-based practices, and what we can do to ultimately live happier and more joyful lives. And today is all about movement and how we tend to store trauma in the body and what movement can do for us to actually help release it, and what kind of movement actually is most effective. As I was people watching this weekend, it became very obvious how conditioned we are to try and minimize our movements and try to be more socially acceptable. We hold back and we restrict these activities and these movements as adults. And just watching these children go by as they're walking, they're skipping and jumping and stretching and reaching up and grabbing things and exploring. And we tend to lose this curiosity and this exploration and tends to start to shut off the requests from our bodies to get these stretches and movements and whatever we want to do because of the social acceptability. Can you imagine watching an adult walk down the street as they're flinging their arms and stretching back and grabbing sticks and moving all over the place? We watch a child do that and we don't ever think twice. And if we watched an adult do that, it would seem a little out of place. That idea of just giving into that is something that we condition ourselves out of. And it is so important for the release of stress every day and the tension that we hold on our body, and also for the release of trauma that may have been stored over a lot of time. See how we can do for ourselves this week in terms of encouraging this stretching and this movement, maybe even a little hollering and a yip every once in a while, whenever you really feel called to do that. Maybe just skipping around. Trauma experts believe that the concept of our body holding on to trauma for us is very real and very true, and maybe one of the reasons why we actually end up being a little bit more susceptible to chronic illness, to mental distress, to diagnosis of depression, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, many different anxieties and depression. And as we can start to learn to let go of the stresses that our body carries for us, we can start to heal from these things in a different way. It is an innate response or reaction that we have often to freeze if we are in a particular traumatic situation. And in these situations, when we freeze, we don't complete an action that may protect us or that may help us feel safe. And when we have a traumatic experience in this type of situation, whether it was an attack of some sort, or even if it was in a motor vehicle accident or some other kind of accident, we aren't able to actually protect ourselves or help ourselves in that way. So many experts look at how, if we can actually complete that kind of action or trust ourselves that we could complete that action in the future, it can actually help us to let go of some of the tension that we are storing and holding in our bodies. So this freezing reaction is an innate reaction, and it is very helpful for us in the moment. And then over time, we want to be able to release that so we can actually move forward from that trauma and integrate it properly into how we experience something and what we feel we can do about it, rather than having that whole experience to a completed outcome be stifled in any particular way. If we are able to also tap into these different physical aspects and the traumas, we can fully process other particular traumas without always having to go into it in more of a cognitive way as we may do in more talk therapy. So a lot of this research and these findings of doing other types of activities to help release trauma can actually be sometimes quicker and more effective to let go of things that we've been holding on in the past. Some titles of some really profound and, for me, life-changing books even describe that very well. The Body Keeps the Score, When the Body Says No, The Body Remembers. We can hold on to all of these different things as we go through traumas. And that point, I think, isn't often given enough understanding or enough weight. So then we miss so many opportunities to let go of things because we're not recognizing that we can also tap into it and release through the body, as opposed to needing particular types of cognitive counseling or something of that sort. Bessel van der Kolk, MD, who wrote The Body Keeps a Score, says, trauma is all about being unable to move and being helpless. So in order to become a capable person, you need to learn to move and get what you need. And that can relate to finishing a particular action, or maybe learning self-defense is an example that comes up often, or maybe just actually completing a particular movement or whatever it might be. And so that's where some of these stretching and the different positions of opening up joints and opening up spaces within our body and fully stretching out can actually be really helpful. There's research that shows yoga can be more effective than many PTSD medications. Other explorations that we could do in this realm include Qigong, Tai Chi, Feldenkrais exercises, and even things that work into the body can be helpful, like rolfing or massage, acupuncture, acupressure, reflexology, even on the bottom of the feet. And there's different ways that we can do this for ourselves at home. And there are different ways or different people out there and practitioners that we can find who will be more understanding, open, and knowledgeable in how trauma is held in the body and able to use these techniques to help further release them. And look for these particular areas as well in the body. So again, what is it about movement that is actually helpful? When we physically hold on to tension in our bodies and we cannot express what is needed to be expressed, be it through movement or cognitively, whatever it is, in order to keep ourselves safe, we often then will hold it in. Can you think of an example for yourself even where maybe you didn't get a chance to say what you needed to say? Or this, can you picture that in your mind if you've seen somebody else do this and you clench your jaw because you're not able to say what you feel like that you want to or need to say. And you clench your jaw and you never get to express it, and over a few moments, hours, days, whatever it is, you let it go and just don't deal with it anymore. And then a situation comes up again and you clench your jaw. Maybe it's an entirely different situation, but again, you feel you're not able to express yourself and you clench your jaw. And this tension starts to build up over time. And this is just one very light, easy example that maybe we've all experienced in our lives or over different situations with people or relationships in different aspects. And as we hold on to this tension, it can start to create physical ailments, physical problems within our jaw. Maybe we start to get headaches. Maybe it starts to create more tension in our shoulders and our muscles here. Maybe we start to have jaw issues. Maybe we start to have teeth issues because we're grinding at night or whatever it is. When we're not able to complete that motion and that expression, not able to keep ourselves safe either through a cognitive or physical, we can start to create and hold on to these tensions in our body. And so we want to massage them and let them go and stretch and move in whatever way you feel is needed for you in your body in that moment. Recognizing what body areas need is one step. And it can take a while to start to learn that. I've been participating in these women dances every month where it's just a free flow and we go and move and express ourselves. And it's taken me quite a while to relearn how to do that, to start listening to your body and be able to just express it without feeling judgment from others, without thinking that you're being watched. So maybe even doing this on your own with blinds folded is really a good way to start, because then we don't withhold and resist what our body needs if we are able to appropriately express it fully without feeling judgment or trying to stifle anything from others. And when we can start to do this around with others as well, it can be extremely therapeutic. So we can do that in whatever organized form might feel more appropriate for you. Yoga always seemed like such a great way to start the day and get things moving and release a lot of tension. Our hips carry a lot overnight for us as well. So doing hip opening exercises in the morning can be very helpful, and just releasing all of these different built up stiffnesses that we have throughout the night can be really helpful and such a great way to start the day. And I've tried to do yoga in the morning, and there's just, for whatever reason, resistance for me to be able to do that. And I've recently rediscovered Qigong. And for me right now in my life, Qigong is such a beautiful, it's a slow exercise. It's sort of about moving the flow of Qi within your body along different meridians. And there are just different types of Qigong for different aspects of the season and for different meridians in our body. And we can do these different movements to help move our own energy. And I found this super helpful. So if there's something that you are finding resistance to, maybe that's just not the one for you right now. And finding another type of activity or flow or movement that is most suited to you right now in your life can be helpful. And I'm sure there will become a time where yoga is going to be more effective for me than Qigong as well. I may need to build that up a little bit more. It's almost contagious to see somebody stretch. When I see somebody like really giving a good stretch and doing that whole back arch thing, it is super contagious. And I look at it and it almost looks delicious. Like I just feel like I need to do that too. And maybe we do. And maybe we need to do it a whole lot more. I encourage you this week to focus on allowing your body to stretch and move and twist and wiggle and yip and holler and whatever you feel like you need to do. As we do it, it becomes easier. And as we realize and learn what our body actually needs, we're able to do it a little bit more as well, in a little bit better and more effective way, and a little more often. What about this do you feel like might be hard for you this week? Or what parts do you feel like might be easy? Or what parts might you struggle with and might be harder because we're thinking of others? Or what might be hard within yourself? And I challenge you this week to move and to listen to your body. And in order to start this off, I invite you for a mindfulness practice here this morning, and we'll incorporate a little bit of seated stretching or standing, whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to demonstrate it seated. So when you're ready, if you can close your eyes, ideally in a quiet place, you can be standing or laying or seated, whatever position feels comfortable for you, where you won't fall asleep. And just start by paying attention to our breath, allowing the air to move in and out at its own pace and recognizing when our in-breath starts and when our out-breath starts. Breathing through our nose in and out, just observing exactly as it is. And just take a quick body scan here from the tip of your head down your face and arms and body, back, hips, legs, knees, all the way down to your toe tips. Your shoulders all the way out to your fingertips. And just feel in your body where something needs to stretch and move. I encourage you to just really, really slowly do that movement. Maybe it's tilting your head from side to side. Take your time and move slowly. A slow pace allows our nervous system to be calibrated and to catch up with us. So whatever the stretch is, to move slowly, allow our nervous system to unwind at the same time. If you want to do a big chest stretch, just take a full 30 seconds to get there. Whatever that movement is, just go slow and pay attention to each joint as it moves and tries to reach the position that you're trying to get it to get that full stretch. And hold that for as long as you need to. Maybe it then transitions into another movement. Just see where your body actually needs to stretch and move, and pay attention to that spot. See how it feels during the stretch. See how it feels after, when you can come to stillness again for a second. And just noting the sensations, being curious about them. What are the boundaries of that sensation? What does it feel like? What color would it be if it had a color? What texture would it have? What temperature would it be? And as you've created that stretch, what does it feel like compared to the other side? Or what does it feel like compared to before that stretch? Exploring again the boundaries, the color, the texture, the temperature, all of the things that it might be. And then again, do whatever other movement you feel. Paying attention again to those joints. And paying attention to how they feel as they stretch. And just noting the sensations without trying to place any meaning or labels on them. Just allowing them to be a particular sensation. And with curiosity is the best way to let go of judgment. Explore boundaries and the color and the texture and the temperature. Moving slowly so it's not a jolt to our nervous system, but we can actually integrate the sensations that we're experiencing as we move. And then just come back to rest slowly, paying attention again to our body and to our breath. Just exploring exactly as it is without trying to change anything. And when our mind wanders, just bring it back to the sensations and the sensation of your breath moving in through your nose and out through your nose. In through your nose and out through your nose at its own pace, exploring it exactly as it is. Breathing in and breathing out. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Stretch your fingers and your toes if you'd like to. Look around the room just to reorient. Thank you so much for joining me here on Mental Fortress Monday this morning to explore movement and how we can allow it to release some of the things that we carry with us. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know what you run into. Let me know your experiences. I'll see you next week. Have an amazing week exploring your movement.